Okay, this slide is its own video. That means that the information contained on this slide is really important for you to understand. I expect you to watch it several times. By now, you should have watched your TED Ed video about eye anatomy. The narrator and creator of the video did make a small error, and it's a really common error, so pay attention. The eye is divided into 3 distinct sections, not just 2. The first section is the anterior chamber. The anterior chamber consists of the cornea and ventral iris. The iris is an important structure for a number of reasons, but the first is it separates the anterior chamber from the posterior chamber. The posterior chamber contains the dorsal iris and the ventral lens. Are you with me? Okay, we're going to try something, so don't make fun of my drawing. The anterior chamber is separated by the iris, which has a ventral side and a dorsal side, followed by a posterior chamber that takes you to the anterior lens by that red arrow there. Everything behind the lens is the vitreous body. That's part 3. Okay, don't forget about that vitreous body. We're going to come right back to it in a minute. But first, the anterior and posterior chambers are filled with aqueous humor, which is a clear, watery fluid that nourishes the cornea and lens. This fluid passes between the 2 chambers through the pupil. The pupil is a hole in the eye. It is not an anatomical structure at all. And because the body continually makes aqueous humor, excess aqueous humor will be shunted out of the anterior chamber through the canal of Schlemm. The canal of Schlemm is tiny and is not labeled on your image, but know that it is located in the anterior chamber, and it drains the aqueous humor from the anterior chamber into the venous system. This is going to be important when we discuss the trabeculectomy and trabeculoplasty procedures next week. Okay? So moving on, the iris is a pigmented sphincter muscle. Its pigment is what gives you your eye color. And you know full well that muscles contract and relax, right? So it is the iris that contracts or relaxes, and that makes the pupil look constricted or dilated. A relaxed iris muscle results in a dilated pupil, and a contracted iris results in a constricted pupil. The purpose of the iris is to react to the amount of light traveling through the eye onto the retina. A constricted pupil lets in less light. Like when we go from inside to outside and it's super bright, your iris contracts. And a dilated pupil lets in lots of light. Like at night when you get up to go to the bathroom, but you don't turn on a light, so your iris relaxes and allows as much light as possible into your eye so you can see where the heck you're going. Okay, the last little bit of this slide pertains to that third portion of the globe of the eye, the vitreous body. Sometimes it's also called the posterior body, but for your studying purposes, we're calling it the vitreous body. The vitreous body begins the posterior lens and includes the retina, which is the internal lining of the whole vitreous body, excluding the posterior lens. So the vitreous body is filled with vitreous humor. The other 2 chambers are filled with what? The vitreous body is filled with vitreous humor, and this is a gel-like substance that fills the space between the lens and the retina. Vitreous humor is clear. Light passes through it, but it is not actively regenerated or replenished. If a structure enters the vitreous humor, it will remain suspended there until it can be surgically removed. Presence of vitreous humor in the anterior chamber is a problem, as indicated in the anterior vitrectomy procedure you'll be studying. That is the end of this slide, and as I said earlier, please watch it more than just once.